These are Lesson 3-3 notes over solving multi-step equations. So as always, our steps are listed at the top. Step 1, check for parentheses and simplify using the distributive property. Step 2, combine any like terms using addition or subtraction on each side of the equation. Step 3, move all variable terms to one side of the equation and all constants to the other side of the equation. And Step 4, isolate the variable by undoing the mathematical operations that are left. All right, so number 1 says solve each equation. Okay, number 1, I'm going to move my shorthand notes here and zoom in a bit. All right, so this first one, we check for parentheses. There are none, so we don't have to use the distributive property. We just skip that step if there are no parentheses. Step 2, combine like terms. All right, so we have to look at one side of the equation at a time. Negative 10x minus 8, the left side of the equation. We cannot combine these two things because this is a variable term and this is a constant. Right, so then I look at the right side. Okay, I have a constant, a variable term, and another variable term. So step 2 is combine like terms, and we look at one side at a time. Because the negative 4x and the positive 2x are on the same side, we're not undoing anything. We do not have to use inverse operations. We just combine them. When we combine two things, we're adding them together. So this is a negative 4x plus a positive 2x. All right, so if you need to use your calculator, you would just type in, because you can't type in the x, you would type in a negative 4 plus 2, exactly as you see that. All right, if you needed to plug it into your calculator, negative 4 plus 2, that's what it would look like. But remember, okay, that you have to include the x as your answer because you're going to get negative 2x here. So if we hit equals, we get negative 2. But kids frequently forget that x needs to be attached to that as well. All right, now that's the only step that I did. So I'm going to bring down everything else. I'm going to bring down my equal sign, the 20, and the whole left side. Okay, from there I move on to step 3. Get my constants on one side and get my variables on one side. Now, I know that adding 2x to both sides would work. I always start with the variables. I, though, think that adding 10x to both sides is easier because I know I'm going to get a positive. So here, okay, my negative 10x and positive 10x cancel. I'm going to bring down the equal sign. Remember to keep that all in line. It should be easier. I'm going to bring down the negative 8, the 20, my constants, because I didn't do anything with the constants. And then negative 2x plus 10x is a positive 8x. From there, I'm going to get my constants together. So I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. Because they're on opposite sides, this is why I'm using inverse operations. I can bring down my equal sign. Remember, inverse operations are just opposite. So that was a positive 20, so I took it away. Up here, this was a negative 10x, so I added 10x. Okay, and then what you do to one side, you do to the other side, which is how we move those terms. Negative 8 minus 20 is negative 28. Okay, and then that positive 8x just comes down. Okay, and then to undo that multiplication, I divide. I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides. And x equals negative 28 divided by 8 is negative 7 over 2, negative 7 halves, negative 3.5. You can write it as a decimal. Okay, or you could have written negative 3.5. Either of those would be fine. All right, and remember, once you get to the very end of the problem, that is when you can flip it around. So instead of negative 3.5 equals x, I could write it this way. Either way works. Wait till you get to the very end of the problem, though. All right, number 2. Okay, again, step 1, I look for the distributive property. I look for parentheses so that I can use the distributive property. Okay, and inside those parentheses, there's a 3x minus 2. The reason I use the distributive property is to simplify it because I can't actually take a 2 away from a 3x. This is a variable term and this is a constant. All right, so here's what I would do if I were you. Go ahead and bring down the negative 6 minus x and the equal sign. We're not doing anything with that. This negative 4, we're going to distribute it to the 3x and to the 2 that is being subtracted. What happens? Okay, negative 4 times 3x is negative 12x. Negative 4 times negative 2 ends up being a positive 8. And then that positive 4x just comes down. Okay, from there, step 2, combine like terms. Look at one side of the equation at a time. So the left of the equal sign, I cannot combine a negative 6 and a negative x. But on the right side, I can combine my x's, my variable terms. There is a negative 12x and a positive 4x. Okay, those two together, remember we just combined them. Pretend like the 8's not even there. Negative 12x plus 4x is going to be negative 8x. All right, I'm going to bring down that positive 8 because we didn't do anything with it. Okay, I'm going to bring down my equal sign, the negative 6, and the minus x. All right, from there, I start to solve. So notice now our variables are on opposite sides and our constants are on opposite sides. So what I would do first, I would get rid of this minus 8x. I would move the variable term to the left, and then we'll move the constant to the right. So to get rid of the minus 8x, I'm going to add 8x. Remember, I want the whole thing to vanish, so I take away the whole, or I add the whole thing. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. So plus 8x, I'm going to line it up with my minus x. Negative 8x and a positive 8x cancel. Okay, bring down my equal sign. Now, negative 6 comes down. Remember that there is an invisible 1 here, but this is a negative 1x plus 8x, which gives me positive 7x. And on the right side, that positive 8 comes down. I don't have to put the positive sign. Now, my variable term is on the left side. I'm going to get my constant to the right. So instead of messing with my 7x, I leave it there, and I add 6 to both sides. Gets it to cancel on the left side. Bring down my 7x. 8 plus 6 is 14. And my last step, 7 is being multiplied by x. The opposite of multiplication is division. And x equals 2. Okay? Moving on to number 3. Alright, so number 3. Start by checking for parentheses and simplifying using the distributive property. So there are parentheses on both sides. That is fine. The 0.5 gets distributed to the 10 and the minus 8x, so positive 10, but a negative 8x. And then here, the 11, this is 11 minus what's in the parentheses. It's not 11 times what is in the parentheses. So notice the difference here. The 0.5 is being multiplied by the parentheses. They're right next to each other. This is 11 minus the parentheses. So the invisible number here would be a 1. Okay, one way to look at this is we're distributing the negative sign, right? Because it's minus everything in the parentheses. So it would end up being minus 5x and minus a positive 13. So that's going to end up being a minus 13 as well. So one way to look at it is that the signs inside of the parentheses are going to change. It's going to be a negative 5x and a negative 13. Another way to look at it is if we put that 1 there, that negative 1 is getting distributed. I did both of those pieces inside. So negative 1 times 5x ends up being negative 5x. Negative 1 times positive 13 ends up being a negative 13. So notice that the signs are just going to change. Okay, and then I'm going to bring down the 11. I'm going to bring down the equal sign, and then on the left side, 0.5 times 10 is 5. And 0.5 times negative 8x is going to be a negative 4x. From there, combine like terms. So on the left side, okay, I cannot combine a 5 and a negative 4x. Let's look at the right side. Okay, I can combine the constants there. So if we pretend like that negative 5x isn't there, then we've got 11 minus 13. All right? Or, remember, when we're combining like terms, when they are on the same side, it's just 11 plus negative 13. But remember, adding a negative is the same as subtracting. So I think it's easiest if you just pretend like that term's not there. And it's 11 minus 13, which ends up being negative 2. And then that minus 5x will come down. Okay, my equal sign comes down, and the 5 minus 4x will come down. From there, I solve. So my variables need to be on one side, my constants need to be on one side. I think it would be easiest to add 5x to both sides. Alright, so I've got the 5 that I'm going to bring down, the equal sign I'm going to bring down, and the negative 2 I'm going to bring down, and then the only math I have to do here, negative 4x, so pay attention to the sign in front of it. Negative 4x plus 5x is just going to be a positive 1x. But remember, if it's a positive 1x, I don't have to put the 1 there. Now that the variable's on one side, okay, I just need to get the constants on the same side, so I would subtract 5 from both sides. And x equals negative 7. All right, number 4. Number 4, it's long. Got 1/5 times 4x plus 20 in parentheses plus 3x equals 2 times x minus 3 in parentheses minus 12 plus 4x. All right, so take it one step at a time. Even though it looks long, it's not difficult if we just follow our steps. So I'm going to use the distributive property first, but instead of using 1/5, I'm going to change that into a decimal. So I'm going to pretend, like right here, is a 0.2 instead of 1/5. So I'll go ahead and rewrite it, even though you don't have to. This would be 0.2 times 4x plus 20. It's a lot of rewriting just for one number, but this makes it less confusing. X minus 3 minus 12 plus 4x. Okay, now distributive property. That 0.2 is getting distributed to the 4x, and it is getting distributed to the 20. The 2 is getting distributed to the x and to the negative 3. So 0.2 times 4x is going to be 4/5 x, which is 0.8x. You can use your calculators for this. So 0.2 times 4 is 4/5, which is 0.8. You can leave it as a decimal. Okay, and then 0.2 plus, 0.2 times positive 20. So 0.2 times 20 is 4. Right, so this is going to be plus 4 because they're both positive. Right, and then the plus 3x I just bring down. And on the left side, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times a negative 3 is a negative 6. And then that minus 12 comes down, and the positive 4x comes down. All right, now step 2. Combine like terms. On the left side, I have 2 variable terms and a constant. So I can combine my positive 0.8x and my positive 3x. Remember, they're on the same side. You're not undoing anything. You're just adding them. Sometimes kids will make this mistake. So our golden rule in math when solving equations is what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. But if you look at what I just wrote down, I didn't subtract 0.8x from both sides. I subtracted it from the same side twice. Okay, that's why step 2, okay, it's why we combine like terms before we start undoing things. All right, so here, notice I've got this 0.8x and this positive 3x on the same side. It's just going to be 3.8x. Okay, that positive 4 just comes down. All right, and since this is a positive 3.8x, I just put a plus sign between them. Now on the right side, I've got 2 variable terms and 2 constants. So remember, we look at the right side now. I've got a 2x and a positive 4x on the same sides. Just combine them. 2x plus 4x is just 6x. Okay, but then I also have this negative 6 and negative 12. Right, you can type it into your calculator just like that. They're on the same side, so just combine them. Negative 6 minus 12, or negative 6 plus negative 12. Either way, you're going to either get plus a negative 18 or minus 18. They're the same thing. Adding a negative and subtracting is the same. From there, it's a lot simpler. Now we get our constants on one side and our variables on the other. I would start by subtracting 3.8x from both sides. Bring down my equal sign. Bring down my 4. And bring down my negative 18. Okay, but 6x minus 3.8x. Remember when you plug this into your calculator, we're just going to get 2.2 because we just can type in 6 minus 3.8 to get 2.2. All right, but remember the x is attached to that. Don't forget your x. All right, from here the variable's on the right, so I'm going to give the constant over to the left side. So I would add 18 to both sides. Minus 18 plus 18, so is 0. 4 plus 18 is 22. Okay, bring down my equal sign. Remember to keep your equal sign in line will help. Bring down my 2.2x. Divide both sides by 2.2. And x equals 10. Or you can rewrite it at the very end so that the variable is on the left side. Either of those would be the correct answer. All right, we have one problem left. You also could have done number 4. Okay, you could have kept it as a fraction. That's what mine looks like. I got the same answer, but it does tend to be a little bit more complicated. Right? That's okay. You know the steps, so you should be able to solve them. Let's flip to our last problem. Number 5 says the triangle and square shown have the same perimeter. So solve the equation 6x, okay, so perimeter, let me zoom out a little bit. 6x plus 10x plus 8x, so the same perimeter means the perimeters can be set equally to each other. So these sides added together are equal to these sides added together. There are 4 sides, they're all 3x plus 3, so 4 times 3x plus 3. So solve the equation to find the value of x, then find the length of one side of the square. So we have 2 steps. So first, start by writing down our equation. It says to solve for x, which makes sense because once we know what x is, all we have to do is plug it in here, and we'll know what one side of the square is. Equals 4 times 3x plus 3. All right, remember, step 1. Okay, we start with the distributive property. All right, so I've got one set of parentheses, 4 times 3x, so 4 times 3x is just 12x. 4 times positive 3 is positive 12. And the left side we just bring down. We didn't do anything with it. 6x plus 10x plus 8x. All right, step 2, combine like terms. So let's look at the left side. All of those are variable terms, so we can combine all of them. 6x plus 10x plus 8x is going to be 24x. Again, double check that. All we have to type in is 6 plus 10 plus 8. 24. Don't forget your x, so it should be 24x. On the right side, I can't combine those two. One's a variable term, one's just a constant, so I just bring it down. So sometimes you can combine like terms on the left, sometimes you can do it on the right, and sometimes you can do it both sides, but sometimes you can't do it on either side. You just have to pay attention. All right, from here, step 3, get my constants on one side and my variables on the other. So since the constants are already on one side, let's move the variables to the other side. So since the 12's here, let it stay. Move that 12x over to the left by taking it away. All right, what I do to one side, I do to the other side. 12x minus 12x cancels. 24x minus 12x is 12x. I bring down my equal sign and my positive 12. From there, I divide both sides by 12. 1x equals 1. There's one of my answers because the problem told me to solve for x. Now remember, it also said, then find the length of one side of the square. So if this represents one side of the square, I'm going to take the 1 that I just found for x, okay, and instead of the x, I'm going to replace it with a 1. So 3 times 1 plus 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. There are no units or labels, so 6 is our answer. All right, this concludes the 3-3 notes.